Hey guys, it's Carter Pierlot here, and today we'll be talking about using Parks Canada in the social studies classroom. So, what is Parks Canada? Parks Canada is a federal organization that is committed to protecting, preserving, and presenting Canada's natural and cultural heritage. As of 2019, Parks Canada operates 39 national parks and 9 national park reserves, covering 3.3% of the total land area of Canada. Parks Canada also administers 171 National Historic Sites. These sites allow us to learn more about Canadian history, including the diverse cultural communities who make up Canada. So what is the goal of Parks Canada? The goal of Parks Canada is to preserve its Canada's natural heritage for future generations by encouraging public understanding, appreciation, and enjoyment of nature and culture. Visitor and educational opportunities include hands-on experiences in the national parks, educational programs in schools, and research programs. Parks Canada helps Canadians have a strong sense of connection through meaningful experiences to their national parks, national historic sites, and national marine conservation areas. So with this Parks Canada presentation, we're going to be talking a lot about place-based learning. And place-based learning is the process of using places outside of the classroom as a starting point to teach concepts across the curriculum. Place-based learning emphasizes hands-on, real-world learning experiences. This approach to education increases academic achievement, helps students develop stronger ties to their community, enhances students' appreciation for the natural world, and creates a heightened commitment to serving as active, contributing citizens. So, what Parks Canada opportunities are available in Saskatchewan? We have two ecological sites. We have Prince Albert National Park and Grasslands National Park, and we have several historical sites which include Fort Battleford, Batoche, Fish Creek, Fort Livingstone, Fort Esperance, Frenchman Butte, and Fort Walsh. So to set up how I would use it in the classroom, I'm going to be focusing on grade 5 and grade 8, and we'll be taking a look at two mock field trips that I would use to meet outcomes in the curriculum. So the first field trip I would use, we'd be taking the class to Grasslands National Park, and at Grasslands National Park, students will be attending the Going Going Gone tour. This tour will be guided by a Parks Canada representative at the Frenchman Valley Campground. So, what students will be learning in this field trip? Students will learn about the temperate grasslands, which is the most endangered biome in Canada. About 70% of the native prairie has been lost, mainly due to agricultural and gas development. Throughout Grasslands National Park, Parks Canada has been able to protect the mixed grass prairie. Ecosystem restoration efforts are aimed at reducing a legacy of threats that began before the park was established. Restoring the park helps the recovery of species at risk, including the greater short-horned lizard, burrowing owl, swift fox, and the black-footed ferret, to name a few. So, in the Grassland National Park, there have been multiple efforts to help the species that live there. A few of the efforts include managing a bison herd at a sustainable level of 300 to 500 individuals. Parks Canada has also planted and seeded over 42 hectares of silver sagebrush in 2016-2017. They've applied prescribed fire, so that means they've intentionally burned parts of the park to reduce invasive leafy spruce, smooth brome, and crested wheatgrass. So these types of grasses are invasive. They're not natural in the midgrass prairie. They've removed or marked 93 kilometers of fencing, reducing the likelihood of vehicle collisions with wildlife, and they've raised public awareness about mixed grass prairie conservation. So some great topics to discuss while you're at Grasslands National Park with your students could include the debate between agriculture and mining versus wildlife conservation. Students should realize that there needs to be a healthy balance of both, so people can people can afford their livelihoods, but at the same time we want to preserve our wildlands. Another good topic to discuss would be the Plains to Buffalo debate. So Grasslands National Park and Wanuskewin are in a collaboration right now, and they're trying to genetically engineer a 100% pure plains bison. Right now, the bison species is the genetics isn't 100% pure because they have been bred with cattle. So that brings up the debate: is should we alter genetics? Is it ethical as humans to do that? It's a good topic for your kids to discuss, and it could also lead to science conversation. So we're bringing in multiple curriculums into this field trip. We could also talk about the value of ecotourism. So basically what ecotourism is putting a value on nature. So we're profiting off nature, we're putting a value on it, and we could also weigh the concept of is it going to be in the long run will it be more sustainable economically ecotourism versus agriculture and mining. So the outcomes that we'll be meeting for grades 5 and 8 will be meeting RW 5.1 and RW 8.3. So the second field trip that I will be talking about is we'll be taking the grade 5 and 8 students to Batoche to learn about Métis culture. At Batoche, students will be participating in a fully guided tour with an experienced guide that will take the class through a customized learning program tailored to the provincial outcomes. These programs showcase the very best Batoche has to offer, telling stories of who we are, including the history, cultures, and contributions of Indigenous peoples. A side note, schools wishing to participate in self-guided tours are free to visit, but to have the fully guided tour is only $7.50 per student. So students will be learning the history of the Northwest Rebellion, the cultural life of the Métis, impacts of governmental influence on the Métis people, and significant figures such as Gabriel Dumont, Frederick Middleton, and Louis Riel. So a couple places that we'll be visiting at the Batoche site. So we'll be visiting the church. We will be visiting a farm home. So this will like demonstrate what Métis life would have been like. We'll be looking at Middleton's camp. So we'll get a sneak peek at kind of what the military would have been like back in 1885. We'll be looking at Red River lots, which is a complete contrast to the quarter section that we have nowadays. We'll be looking at Métis rifle pits, which will show us some of the Métis military, and we'll be looking at the cemetery, which will kind of make it seem a little bit more real for the students because you could actually see that there was soldiers that were lost in this battle. So some great topics to discuss while you're at Batoche with your students. Louis Riel, should he be considered a hero or a villain in his role in the Red River and Batoche rebellions? Another topic could be what action should have John A. Macdonald taken to prevent violence at Batoche? What if the rest of the Indigenous forces joined the Métis in their fight for rights? How do you think Canada would be different today? What are some of the similarities and differences between the lifestyle of the Métis and white settlers? So all these questions are great discussion questions. They will provoke opinions of the students, and we'll get them thinking and how are they going to back up their response. So the outcomes we're meeting in this field trip, we are meeting IN 5.1, IN 5.2, and for grade 8, we'll be meeting IN 8.1. So how to book a field trip with Parks Canada. The easiest way to do it is just go to their website, links right here. But I also have the hyperlink for Batoche and Grasslands if that's something that interests you. And here are my sources. I hope you guys enjoyed my presentation and have a lovely rest of the summer.